Hello, folks. This is a special treat for one of the people that follows my work. I appreciate their feedback always. And so Hecla is of interest to both of us. In my opinion, Hecla Mining Company, it's the symbol HL on the NYSE. When you are looking at silver production in America, what you quickly arrive at is it's all about Hecla. And so, given the big picture that I'm not going to expand on in this video, but given the big picture on the planet right now, um, there is a trend towards nationalization, and there are multiple billionaires who need physical silver. Whether you want to talk about Elon Musk and he's got three businesses that without silver they don't exist. But anyway, a lot of demand for silver these days, and in my opinion, there is also a trend towards I want my silver local. And of course, as Americans, that means, or as American multi-billionaires, that means silver available in America, readily available in America. And again, as I stated, that means Hecla Mining Company. And so anyway, um, this is my chart we're in the quarterly time frame. And so each price bar in this chart represents a full 3-month time period. And we can see here that the action in Hecla is just it's dramatic, to say the least, and just any number of bullish factors that we could talk about. Stochastics, energy's elevated, suggesting that price is headed higher based on energy level. MACD horribly overbought. And if we look at one of my ideas or premises about price action is that MACD tends to react at prior highs and lows in MACD. And so in this case, what that might suggest is that somewhere up ahead of us, we might see some price reaction in Hecla based on reaching this. We could call that a maximum overbought level in MACD. But again, let's note that we aren't there yet, which means that Hecla still has room to run higher, in my opinion, based on MACD. Accumulation distribution, that's always a question in my mind. When I'm looking at investments or potential investments, are investors, besides me, are investors accumulating this vehicle or divesting themselves of the vehicle? And of course, in this case, based on this indicator, we would get the idea that investors are accumulating Hecla. And again, volume supports that theory or that postulate. The idea that investors are accumulating Hecla, volume certainly supports that idea. I think that line right there I was trying to show, I was trying to emphasize the idea that volume is surging in Hecla, and not only in Hecla. I mean, we could apply some of these same ideas to any of the mining stocks, certainly the majors, the producers. But let's focus on Hecla for now. This line was to emphasize the dramatic level of this volume surge, and so. And then price action. So, clearly, Hecla is just it's breaking higher. This is the words don't come to mind readily. I think what does come to mind readily, I think I would be, if we were sitting around a conference table, having a bull session, I think I would be talking about a repricing event rather than a price rally. I would be talking about a repricing of Hecla, given the current geopolitical situation, supply and demand with silver, so on and so forth. But that would be part of what we'd have. We'd be talking about those factors in our bull session. In this particular video, which I'm going to wrap up here quickly. What does that give us? It's all well and good. Brian can sit there and I can babble all day if you want to listen to me. But the focus of this video is what are our price targets in Hecla. And so I would suggest that, based on simple technical analysis, our next, obviously, Hecla has to work its way through this current resistance level. We've got this resistance level up through, what is that? We'll call it $26. So about $26. But again, we have to acknowledge that's going all the way back to, that's 1986. 1986, what's that, 40 years ago? And so, how much resistance should we really expect from price highs that occurred 40 years ago? Don't know. I'm paying attention to it on the chart. And, when prices going vertical, you're kind of grasping at straws. I mean, technical analysis falls short. There aren't any technical analysis methodologies for dealing with vertical price movements. But anyway, again, you do the best you can. And that's why I'm looking at this potential support resistance level. Again, tops out at 36, assuming that Hecla pushes, no, 26. I said 36. Excuse me, not 36, 26. So this current support resistance level tops out at 26. Assuming that Hecla makes it through that level, then we come into this next potential support resistance level, starts at 31 and runs through, 33.50 or so. And so anyway, assuming that Hecla pushes, a couple of, another buck or two higher, which, let me just point out, Hecla's had a tremendous move. I mean, you can see it right there. Heck, what was that? That was $8. We're currently pushing into 26. When was that? That was the start of 25. Yeah. So between spring of 25 and spring of 26, Hecla has gone from, $8 to $26. So let's not fault Hecla if it wants to take a little bit of a rest at any point. But my guess is next target in Hecla is this, 31 to $33 level, somewhere in there. Of course, we've got a round number at 30, which, as I stated in my last video, those round numbers tend to come into play. But anyway, I've got big expectations for Hecla. I think the stock is headed much higher, and I'm going to leave it there. I ain't got anything else to say. See you, folks.